And while you're thinking about that, let's tell you about what everyone's talking about this morning. It's across all the newspapers, and it was an exclusive statement that Phillip Schofield gave to the Mail, actually, yesterday, announcing that he'd already left this morning, but still had stuff underway with ITV. Anyway, that's all gone. The ITV deal has gone after he's admitted to having an affair with a young male colleague this morning.
Well, the presenter has also been dropped by his talent agency, YMU, who represented him for over 35 years. Well,
let's speak to the editor-at-large of the Mail on Sunday, Charlotte Griffiths. Good morning to you, Charlotte. I mean, look, this really is everywhere. Mail exclusive that's been picked up by absolutely everybody this morning. Is it the end of his career, do you think?
I think it must be for the foreseeable future. The fact that he's left YMU was, I think, one of the most shocking things about all of this, because he owns shares in that company, and he's been in it, as you say, for over 30 years. And Holly was, of course, famously on the books of YMU, but mysteriously left about 2 years ago. And now I'm sort of wondering, why did she leave? I mean, ostensibly it was to set up her own all-female agency, but the timing of it is all quite odd. And if he can't actually keep his own agency, which he has shares in, then spells the end of his career, I would have thought.
Charlotte, can you tell us, I mean, you obviously are editor-at-large at the Mail. Is there more to come on this story?
Yeah, I'm editor-at-large at the Mail on Sunday, I should say that, because we're still slightly separate. But hats off to my sister paper, the Mail, because they didn't take no for an answer on this. And it's really unprecedented to have Phillip Schofield actually say the words that, I lied to the Daily Mail in his own statement. And it was real testament to how the paper, suspected he wasn't telling the truth, trusted its sources and kept going. So that was, I'm very proud of my sister paper for that one.
What do you make? I mean, there are various elements in the statement which are particularly interesting. The one that stood out to me, where he said the relationship with this young man, which, I don't know when it would have been, 4 or 5 years ago, he said it was unwise but not illegal. And what struck me was the fact that you've got to clarify that point.
Yeah, it's almost as if he's addressing some rumours which haven't been reported in print, that they started their friendship before he turned 18. And there is some evidence on Twitter that they followed each other on Twitter before he turned 18. But you're right, it's an unusual thing to bring up out of the blue. And in answer to your previous question, it does beg the question, is there more to come? Was he getting ahead of this? It seems quite clear he probably was getting ahead of something. And he knows there's more to come. And maybe there'll be something in that area that will come out in the next few days.
And of course, there's going to be questions now about what ITV knew, especially what ITV bosses knew, and when.
Yes, so Carolyn McCall, Kevin Lygo and Martin Frizzell are the big names to watch out for in the papers over the next few days, because they had very close relationships with him. And, one or two of them have been described in the newspapers as used to clearing up his mess. So we'll have to stand by and find out what kind of messes he's been getting into behind the scenes that, according to reports, editors there knew about. And then, of course, there's Holly, who'll be absolutely desperate not to be linked into any speculation that she knew that there was something going on. And, of course, she got well ahead of this by threatening, a fortnight ago to leave ITV if they didn't get rid of him. So it seems that she may have known something but stood her ground. Again, she left YMU 2 years ago. So there'll be a lot of speculation coming up about who knew what and when. And I think it could be a very busy week for ITV in the next week.
Hold on, let me pull you up on that, Charlotte, because that's not a line we've heard before. Holly Willoughby threatened to leave ITV unless they got rid of him. Is that right?
Well, there were a lot of reports, weren't there, that the reason why he resigned was because she said, it's him or me, I want to go it alone. And he was quite clear in his statement that his departure was unrelated to all this. But the timing is just quite coincidental. And, I'm not saying Holly is related to this, but Holly will want to make sure she's not one of those names that comes up as bosses or people at ITV in this morning who knew about this.
Where do you think this leaves Holly Willoughby? Because she's on this extended half-term break at the moment. She's meant to be back on the 5th of June. But she has been in a partnership with Phillip Schofield for the last 14 years. How possible is it going to be for her to go it alone on this morning?
Yeah, I think she can make a good partnership with somebody like Alison Hammond. And as you two know, it's nice to have a genuine rapport. And I think she did have that with Phil for a time. And, you know, their corpsing was very entertaining. After a while, I think it became quite stilted and perhaps even contrived. Yeah, I think it'll be possible for her to carry on. She's got to find a great new teammate. I think Alison could be the one. And I think ITV will continue with this morning. There's been some speculation today that can it survive this? But I think if they find a really good partnership and keep it light, it should do.
But the problem with this is that all harks back to the who knew what and when, doesn't it? Which does affect Holly in all of this, because as you well know, as remarkable as it is that he's given this statement, certainly with insiders, this was the worst kept secret in showbiz.
Yes, but, you know, he also said very clearly in his statement, I lied to everyone around me. But yes, there was a video of him having lunch in a cafe with this young man, although I think he was 18 at the time. So it was the worst kept secret. You have to take him at his word. You know, Holly must have asked him about this. People around him must have asked him about this, and he must have lied. That's what he said, and that's all we know right now.
ITV's reaction to this is really interesting, isn't it? Because when Phillip Schofield stepped down initially six days ago, ITV were very, very quick to say in their statement that he would continue with ITV. He'd be presenting other programmes. They did seem quite keen to hold on to him as a talent. But then on this morning, the actual television programme, there was just that very, very short 30-second goodbye tribute from Alison Hammond and Dermot O'Leary. They seemed to be at odds with one another, didn't they? It's almost as if they knew that this was coming down the track.
Yeah, I think their 30 seconds was very cautiously written. It focused a lot on his skill as a broadcaster and not on his personality. There wasn't anything alluding to him being a warm member of the ITV family. You know, there was nothing warm about that statement, was there? I have to say, I remember saying on GB News that week, God, I'm surprised they did anything at all. If I were them, I would have bided my time and not really done anything. But I suppose they had to acknowledge it in some way. But you're right. I think it does indicate that they were being extremely cautious, perhaps anticipating there might be more to come down the road on this.
And in terms of more to come, are we going to see things in the Mail on Sunday tomorrow?
I'm sure there'll be plenty more revelations. Of course, our newspaper is ahead of the game on this at all times. Katie Hines done an amazing job, who's really leading all these articles. And she was the one who was issued with this incredible statement yesterday. There'll be much more to come in tomorrow's paper.
OK, well, we look forward to reading that. Charlotte Griffiths, good to see you. Thanks very much indeed.